Hello, this is Joe83, and this is episode 8 of the My Team Lotus F1 2020 career mode, and we're here in Baku for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and we're starting off the weekend by fitting a load of new engine parts. I actually went back to the old engine for Monaco, or used the old components, because obviously engine doesn't really matter there, but obviously Baku, massive, mega straight in the last sector, so going to put all the new parts in to make sure we got the maximum performance possible from our Mercedes power unit. And yeah, coming on to the practice one for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's a circuit that I'm indifferent on. It's very difficult to league race on because of the close proximity of the walls, but offline it's fairly good. I do enjoy the flow of it, especially the middle and last sector. The first sector is obviously a bit boring with all the straight lines and 90-degree corners, but track acclimatization was fairly straightforward. You can see a few greens in there, but mostly purple, and it's going to be the purple score on my third lap actually, so it took me a few attempts to get the purple for the 50 resource points there for this Lotus team. And yeah, tyre test, and it's going to be another purple score, a second up on the Delta as well. I find that tracks with long straights are very easy to get the times on. You can see we're gaining so much time on the Delta, and maybe I actually enough time there to lift off and get into the purple for the fuel. It might be because I was running low drag. I ran about 2.5 wings, I think, which might help me out compared to what the default time would be, but ERS as well, very straightforward. It's because of this long straight, it's just so easy to get the 50 points. So it's going to be a very good amount of resource points for this practice programs. I couldn't do the quali pace test, but race strategy is easy as well. 3 green laps in a row, giving us 50 points, and straight on into qualifying then. It's looking pretty overcast actually here in Baku, maybe a threat of rain later in the session, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, primary goal is to get out of Q1, because I think I'm fairly good around here, and AI, obviously, on street tracks are generally not great, so it could be a good opportunity. This is my first lap in quali. Sorry, no, it's not. It's my last lap in Q1, coming through a castle section, very tight, obviously, through there. My first lap actually left me 11th, but I'm pretty sure the timings are glitched at a minute, because I was definitely about 16th after the first lap, so I don't know how I've gone up 5 places. But yeah, just trust me, I'm on the cusp of going out at the minute, so I really do need to improve here. But we're about a tenth, maybe 2 tenths up now, going onto the long back straight, or the pit straight really. Obviously fully flat out through these corners. And on the first lap, I actually got a bit of slipstream down here, so I'm going to lose a bit of time on the Delta. You can be able to see with 2.5 tenths up, it's going down to about 2 tenths and maybe even 1.5 tenths. So it's going to only be a small improvement. But the checker flag is out for Q1. I'm going to have a minor improvement. Where's it going to leave me in Q1? It is actually in P14, so I'm through to Q2 for the first time in a few races, I think. And yeah, my teammate Delatraz in 19th as well, so the car has seems to have a little bit of pace around it, because usually Delatraz will be last. But also, one to note there was Sainz and Leclerc were just both out in Q1 for some reason. I have no idea what happened, because the McLaren and the Ferrari are obviously fast enough to get into Q3 quite easily. So yeah, don't know what happened there. But this is my best lap in Q2, right at the end of the session. My first lap was on dead soft, so yeah, this is we're going to improve a lot. It left me last on the first runs, so I've got to improve here to try and get off the back row, or the back row of Q2, I should say. But this corner locking up a little bit there, not over the curve on entry, but with 2 tenths up still, and braking just below the 50-meter board down to second gear, taking a lot too much curve really there on the entry, trying to get a good exit. Now down towards the end of sector 1, we're only a tenth and a bit up, so we're half a second off Kvyat. Yeah, you can see that could raise me a few places. I'm obviously not expecting to be much higher than about 14th at best, but Gasly is Stroll there for the taking really, if we can get a good lap in through the very tight castle section. Now you just want to take as much speed through all these corners as possible without pushing it over the edge through the castle section, the narrowest part of the calendar. And yeah, gained a lot of time through there. We're now 7 tenths up, maybe 8 tenths now on the exit, and down towards the final sector. Obviously flat out through the first 2 bits here. And then this corner at the end of the straight is extremely difficult to get the braking right for. Down towards third gear, trying to take as little curve as possible by getting a nice run. We've actually done that pretty well. We're a second up now, but I was a long way off the rest of the drivers. And you can see we're only a 1.5 off Kvyat, so if we can get a good exit here, we might have a chance of moving up a couple of places. But of course, the other drivers are still improving as well. You can see Perez has gone up to 12th now, and opening DRS in a few seconds' time, but we're 1.3 seconds up. It's going to be a big improvement. Could it raise me off of the last place in qualifying in Q2? I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see as we come up to the line now. Extremely long straight, of course, and now slightly improvement. I think that was 3 tenths off Perez, but it did leave me, unfortunately, in 16th place. So last in Q2, but that's still a good qualifying, I think, because yeah, it's out of Q1, which is the primary aim, and ahead of my teammates still. We're 2 tenths off of Stroll, and it's a very close packed grid from there on. And I'm actually going to elect to do the soft-hard strategy. We saw it in Zandvoort. I did hard-soft, and it just didn't go too well. It got undercut by everyone. So I'm going to do the alternate to what I did there. And starting on softs for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix from 16th on the grid, 5 red lights. And it's a short hold, and we're away in Baku. And Kvyat's got a bad start there. I'm going to get one of my trademark good starts, go ahead about 3 AI before turn 1. Now sending up the inside Gasly for 11th, this would be in the AlphaTauri. And down towards turn 2, he's got a good exit there, and Perez is all over my back end as well, but we're close enough to send another one on the Frenchman in the AlphaTauri, hopping over those curves on the inside, and that's not going to be very helpful, but the exit here is very important. It's another long straight, and obviously the Mercedes power unit and the soft tyres give me good traction, means that we're going to have the advantage probably over Gasly in the AlphaTauri and Honda engine down towards the next corner. Giovinazzi almost cutting me off there, almost hitting the back end of the Italian, but not quite. But we're up into 11th place, up 5 places in the first sector, so that's a very good start indeed. We're now on the back of the points, and of course all the drivers behind me are on hards, pretty much. I think the default strategy outside the top 10 was to do hard soft, so I should have the pace over all those, and you can see Giovinazzi now and Norris going at it for 9th, just ahead of me. Very close racing between the 2 AI cars, and we're trying to take advantage here of any mistakes that they might make. Giovinazzi going defensive into turn 2, going to brake late, try and send one down the outside. He's got to leave me space, and we're almost forced into the wall there, but just about not. He leaves me space very kindly there, and that's allowed me up to 10th place, so extremely good start here, up 6 places in just over a lap. And now 1 lap later, we've got the McLaren Lando Norris, the lead McLaren, as we saw Science car in Q1 for some reason, down towards the final sector. I don't know what was up with my pace at the start, but on these softs, I was really enjoying it, but a little bit oversteer there might curtail any attempt I'm going to make on Norris down this straight, but it's just so long that it probably won't matter, to be honest, because it's such a motorway, really, Jensen Button, what's called it, and yeah, DRS is enabled at this point, lap 3 of course, and we're well within a second of Norris. He won't have it on Ocon, who's 3 seconds clear already, but DRS wide open now. My fellow Brit in the McLaren is going to get easily overtaken. Straight line speed is just too good, and braking just about 120 metres around the outside of Norris's turn 1, and we've got the move done. So up into 9th place, and the pace on these soft seems very good at the start. We've already got a big gap behind Giovinazzi to 12th, so yeah, it's a very good start, almost in the wall there and exit, but not quite. So let's have another look at how the start played out, and you can see it was actually Vettel on the front row with Hamilton this time, I think it was, and further down the order, I gained about 3 places before we even got to the braking zone in turn 1, absolutely sent it on Gasly, and yeah, we know by the end of the next straight, I'd actually got ahead of Gasly, so yeah, obviously important to gap all these hard drivers, because they're going to be coming back at me at the end of the race on the softs, so you can see lap 7 now, the pit window is open. But I was just feeling so confident on these softs that I didn't really want to pit this early, because I know that at the end, when I'm on dead hards, the soft drivers will all be coming back at me. But up into 2nd place now, I like to go 2 laps longer. And in fact, only 61% of my tyres were wearing about 6% a lap, so the pace was still alright. So I like to go even 1 lap longer than this, so 3 laps longer than what the team initially recommended. And we're going to pit at the end of lap 9, actually. That's going to be back into the lead of the race. Alex Albon goes 8 laps into the race. I'm going to go 9. And you can see all the hard drivers behind me, including Bottas, is already right all over me, having made his pit stop. So to avoid being a nuisance to them, we're going to peel off into the pits on lap 9 and not get overtaken by Bottas on track. Save a bit of dignity there, and into the pit lane for the hards going to the end of the race. You can see all these drivers are on hards from the start of the race. So really for the next 10 laps at least, we're going to have a big undercut on them. But the important ones are, I think, Norris and Giovinazzi will be quite close to, as they got an undercut on me. But with the fresher tyres now from pitting 2 or 3 laps later, I should have the pace over them, as we saw in the first stint. There is Latifi, and here goes Norris and Giovinazzi down the right-hand side. And we got to brake a little bit earlier with these cold tyres and lose those places. We're actually 21st out of 22 at the minute. Delatraz is, I don't know how, but he's 10 seconds off the back of the pack already. So another poor showing from him. But yeah, at the end of the same lap, actually, Norris going past Latifi here, and Giovinazzi also going past Latifi. It's important for me to stay close to them two, as they're really who we're battling for the rest of the race, probably. Braking very late, try and get past Latifi as soon as possible in that really slow Williams on the dead mediums. Latifi going defensive into turn 2, going to try and pull the same move we did on Giovinazzi, and around the outside of turn 2, close up to the barriers, and this time, yeah, through, and we're going a bit defensive as we didn't get the perfect run, but it should be enough to hold off the Williams. And here we go, Norris and Russell this time. My fellow Brits, Russell obviously on old mediums as well. We're going to pick up a little bit of slipstream off him, but he's actually going to peel into the pits as well on lap 12. So a bit of a strange strategy there. I don't know why I wouldn't do soft hard to be honest, rather than medium hard. But down towards turn 1, Norris a little bit too far ahead on this occasion. Giovinazzi is sort of gone down the road already, but Albon, I think that is in the train, getting stuck in this traffic of the back few. I think it's Sainz and Stroll who are on the hard slipping from the start of the race. We're almost a pit stop ahead of already. So this strategy is very strange. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But down towards turn 3, sorry, not close enough to a move for Norris. But he's going to get a little bit of oversteer and exit there. We might be close enough for a send on the inside, but no, not quite. Buzzing all over the back of the McLaren driver though. We've got a good exit off of turn 4 and down the inside, maybe into turn 5. We're going to send one, and this is very difficult to overtake usually, but Norris going to have to hop over those curbs on the inside, going to go around the outside off turn 6 there. Very nice move indeed. and we're up into 17th place, but I think that's a net 10th once all the pit stops play out, if it's anything like it was in the first stint. And you see through the castle section, it's just so tightly compact, and here is a lot of battling going on. That is Sainz, Albon and Giovinazzi, and Sainz hasn't pit yet, so it's Giovinazzi and Albon are the ones that I'm racing. I think Albon had a problem because I don't know why he's struggling to pull away from Giovinazzi, unless he's just really bad. But it's going to be 3 wide again as turn 3. I'm going to close up a lot, and Sainz going very slowly. We're going to have to pull the same move on a McLaren driver for the second lap in a row down the inside of turn 4. Another quite unorthodox place to make an overtake. But I've made it work. Obviously, Sainz had older tyres, so it's not quite as impressive. But Albon and Giovinazzi really are there for the taking. I think that would be for 7th place. Which would be extremely good, because obviously my best result so far this season's been 8th, so anything better than that is a really good achievement. And Albon and Giovinazzi once again down towards turn 3, DRS wide open, braking very late, closing up on the back of Alex Albon quite a lot, and down towards the middle sector. It's going to be so hard to make anything happen here, but Giovinazzi actually has overtaken Albon somehow, but a lot of oversteer there, almost in the wall. That was a little bit of contact to make sure we didn't get damaged, but yeah, the back end of this car is still very squirrely, especially on the traction zones. The chassis just isn't very good. I think we're second last in the pecking order on the chassis. Aero is very good, so that's why in the high-speed corners we're fairly decent, but on traction zones we're just very poor. That actually meant I lost a lot of pace eventually throughout the stint to Albon and Giovinazzi, who started pulling away. But a few cars in the pits now onto the softs, including Perez and Gasly, who are going to be closing me down very quickly, but only 5 laps left now. So if I can just keep getting good exits off the final corner, it's going to be a lot harder than it was in Spain and in China, because the straight is just that bit much longer. And Perez is already in DRS on lap 21, and later in that lap, through the castle section, Perez is all over my back end again, and Giovinazzi and Albon are slightly too far ahead, so I've not got any DRS once we get onto the straight, and Perez is going to get a much cleaner run through here in his racing point. The guy we seem to be battling all the time lately. We had that obviously a brilliant move in Monaco, but maybe he's a bit annoyed about it because it was very forceful. He's going to try and go up the inside of the final sector, these high-speed corners. Very difficult place to make an overtake work. He's going to send one though down to the third last corner. Almost contact there with Sergio Perez. A little bit of oversteer next to him. We've held it because he has to jump over the curbs, and that's going to be a big gap actually. Up to 9/10 of a second, and that should mean that we've got the pace to keep him behind down the straight, even though he's going to have DRS, and yes we did. And one lap later again, coming up to the castle section, just making sure not to make mistakes this late in the race. We've been going for so long on these dead hards and braking just before 50 metres, third gear, hopping over the curves nicely, and Perez has got a much cleaner run through here once again, and he's going to have a chance down towards the same corner, and he's going to get a much nicer exit, and Gasly's also worried with us as well, so we need to really hold on for these points. And Perez going to have the pace over me and the slipstream go down the inside. Once again, his favourite overtaking place, but over the curbs on the inside for the Mexican, and it's not going to work again. A little bit of oversteer there just to show him that I'm no pushover. And yeah, actually there's Alex Albon in front, and with the yellow flag out, those technical difficulties that were hampering with all race we've now seen to end his race. And also Charles Leclerc, who obviously started last, pit on lap 19 for softs, and then pit again on lap 22 for softs. So up into 6th place because of those two problems for the big cars. And really, this is an unbelievable finishing position if you're going to hold it up into overtake mode on the exit of turn 2. And Perez is too far back on this occasion. And once again, Giovinazzi has gapped me into next week. I don't know where he's got this pace from, but he's going to finish 5th by the looks of it with 1 lap to go after this one. And Perez all over me now. We've just got to hold him off for what would be the best result of the season in 6th place at the minute if we can hold off Perez. It looks like at least going to be 7th because Ricciardo's 3.5 seconds back. I don't know what happened to Gasly, but he's just disappeared from the face of the earth as well. So yeah, coming through turn 2, not the best exit there. And Perez is going to have a good chance with DRS wide open. We've got a little bit of earth to play with, and obviously a slight bit of rich, and Perez was not close enough on that occasion. And now down the back straight, back onto the start-finish line. Perez is not close enough. Obviously, as the race went on, his soft started to wear, and that really handed the advantage back to me. But we're going to come to the line to finish 6th place, 8 points for this Lotus team, and it's an unbelievable finish, really. And holding off Perez at the end of the race there, very nicely, well, very nice indeed. And it's going to be 6th place for 8 points in the championship as well. Really, a lot of good finishes in a row. Driver of the day as well. You love to see it. And coming onto the results then. And Valtteri Bottas won, led home with Mercedes 1-2 once again. And myself in 6th, Perez in 7th, Ricciardo, Raikkonen and Leclerc running out the points on those 2 stop strategies. Some of them did very strange strategies, but I won't complain. I'll take the points when they come onto the standings. I actually went up a few places into 9th on 24 points now, which is a lot more than I expected. I'm only 1 point off our sponsor goal for the season, so I'd like to think I'll get that at some point, up to 25. Delatraz, my teammate, is in 21st place because he's an absolute fraud. And yeah, I'll be looking to replace him as soon as we can, really. 24 points in the championship as well, not far off Racing Point, which would be very nice if we can start challenging them down the line. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more. This has been J183, and I will see you next time.